Barrier Fencing Supply is a fencing wholesaler and distributor based out of Supply, North Carolina. Whether you need fencing, fencing products, fencing accessories, or various other construction materials related to your fencing needs, we have the products you are looking for at today's most competitive prices around. Ask us today about bulk pricing packages. Call 910-269-8661. Contact us by email at sales@barrierfencingproducts.com. Barrier Fencing Supply, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Hey, good evening, race fans, and welcome back to another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. We just heard from one of our big sponsors, Barrier Fencing Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. Huge supporters of our show. We're super excited to have them as part of our team. Also, tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Atwell Exterior Services out of Greenville, North Carolina. Trevor Atwell and Team Atwell Racing. We'll hear from them as we close out tonight's show. We're going to go ahead and jump right into tonight's show. We're going to go ahead and check in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We know him as Donovan Jackson. A lot of fans know him as Action Jackson. Hey, he was at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway this past Sunday, drove two different cars, and one of very few drivers who have ever done this. Drives two cars in one day, parks it in Victory Lane twice in the same day. Good evening, Donovan Jackson. Hey, we've had you on the show before. We're super excited to have you back. Welcome to tonight's show.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You know, we talk to a lot of different various drivers from over the Fayetteville Motor Speedway and our, kind of existing area. But, man, Sunday afternoon, Sunday Fun Day, Fayetteville Motor Speedway, kicking off part 2 of the 2023 season. You came out there and just showed out, hey, Action Jackson is in the house. You go out in the Ed Bellinger Motorsports, as we know it at EBM Motorsports. Ed Ballinger, AJ, I saw those guys earlier in the day on Sunday. I went over to speak to you at the trailer, but I don't know, man, you were there signing autographs or doing whatever you're doing. You weren't at the trailer, so I go over and speak to Ed and AJ, and we think we got a good piece today. So let's start with race number 1. Fast time and the number 1 Ed Bellinger Motorsports late model 602s series that is brought to you in part by Bilstein's Shocks. Let it flag to flag, man. You pretty much stunk up the show, brother.
Man, we've been struggling with that car this year so much, trying to figure out what that thing needs. And it's a 2014 Barrier Wright, so we've tried to go off of what AJ's done with his Masters built car and then some stuff that I know, which I'm still learning on the late model stuff. And we've tried different things. Every race we've tried something new. And over the break, we just put our brains together and just said, let's try something different again. And that turned out to be what we needed, and it was awesome.
Yeah, no doubt it was awesome. Let's talk about now. I'm gonna slap your wrist here just a little bit. Oh man, what a struggle it's been on that car. Now, I'm gonna call BS on that just a touch because I know it's been more almost double-digit top 5 finishes in 23, multiple top 10 finishes, and let's just talk about the consistency about you and your team. That is great. But what really is great, first late model win for Donovan Jackson happened this weekend inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Now, I know you have crossed the finish line and seen the checker flag many times through a mod light, and you've done it a lot. And we're going to go into this in the latter part of the show. A lot of times in 2023 with your Willys Carbonado 602 Sport Modified. But what a sense of accomplishment, man. I won't say that it's been like a real big deal, like it's been a struggle for the Ed Bellinger Motorsports number 1, because obviously you guys have been in the hunt. But even though you've taken that checkered flag, when you come off of turn 4 and in a late model, it's my first one. Describe that for the fans. Talk about that. What a feeling of excitement. The commitment to what you have for this, and like, hey, the hard work has paid off, and Sunday was payday for Ed Bellinger Motorsports and that number 1 machine.
Man, it's been something I've wanted to do my whole life, and my whole racing career. I've always wanted to get a late model win. I mean, a lot of guys say late model is the top notch. I mean, we're all 602 motors, but it's tough when you're racing against the caliber of competition that you're in. And we sat on the poles. Okay, we're just going to go take the next step. Let's go out and start the feature good. Next step, we're leading laps. And I'm like, well, let's see if we can get them, the last part of the race in. And coming around there, seeing the white flag, I said, well, there's only one more lap to see if I can just keep my composure, keep it smooth. And coming out of turn 4 and seeing that checker flag, man, I was screaming, honestly. I held my hand out the window. My wrist was been killing me for the last 2 weeks, and everything it was gone. And all I could just see is that checker flag. And coming around the back straightaway, that's why I took an extra lap. I had to gather myself just to prepare myself to go across the scales and get to victory lane. It was amazing.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm up in the tower now, no longer in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane, and I was able to call that race for you. And yes, I could see the excitement, and I saw it. White flag in the air for the number 1 of the Ed Bellinger Motorsports. Donovan Jackson rolls off of turn number 2, goes down the back straightaway through 3 and 4. And when Donovan Jackson rolls off of turn number 4, the checker flag will be in sight. That's exactly how I caught it in my memory. And to see you, man, it's almost like it's a first win for this situation. And, man, to see that hand of a driver, yes, coming out of that window, when you come off of turn number 4, I mean, going to victory lane, me and Robert Kitchens, the Rooster, a long time ago, he had me on one of his shows back when they had Shine Runners racing. He and Swanee Sasquatch, Joseph Swan, did their show. And we talked to each other all about, in my position at that time, being in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane. And what would you describe, asking me that, what would you describe as being in victory lane in one word? And we came up with the word emotion. And I could see the emotion. I could see the intensity. I could see the excitement. I could see the joy in your left hand coming out of that window. I did it. I did it. I have captured a late model win. Let's talk about it.
Yes. I mean, it was very emotional. It still doesn't seem real. I mean, I'm living a dream, chasing bigger dreams. And it's amazing. And that's what I kept telling AJ and Ed after I get out of the car. I said, we finally did it. We struggled. We have some good top 5 finishes. We struggled at the house trying to put our brains together, figure out what the car needed. And I said it like 10 times before we even got off the pad. I'm like, we finally did it. We did it as a team.
Yeah, you guys have done it. And, you talk about looking back on the 2023 season where you have been in the mix of the top 5, in the top 10. Most of your finishes, set aside from this win, has been in that top 5. But when you talk about this weekend in particular, when you got the win, Zach Cox right behind you, Willie Milliken, the wild child who cut his teeth inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, who has many wins inside the Carolina Bull Ring. And, along with other drivers there, but the one who rounds out that top 5, we're going to talk about just a moment. Obviously, we're highlighting you on getting the win. But what a competitor, man, that you have to race with every single week in that number 6, Blackwell Landscaping Longhorn, Chase Blackwell, a young gun that drives everyone clean, who is very competitive and always there in the end.
Absolutely. I have a lot of respect for the Blackwells and everyone that finished, that I race against. And that kid's going to go somewhere for sure. He's got good teachers behind him, and he's got his head set right for where he wants to go in the future. I'm proud of him for sure.
Well, no doubt. Congratulations on picking up your first win in a late model in the history of your racing. Also, picking up win number 1 on Sunday Fun Day of Part 2 as the Fayetteville Motor Speedway kicks off 2023. You and your team, AJ Ballinger, Ed Bellinger Motorsports, EBM Motorsports, you guys did a phenomenal job. Congratulations on that. Well, here we go. My man, the 93, Action Jackson, Donovan Jackson, pulls double duty on Sunday and then rolls into the Willys Carbon Dyno 602 Sport Modified, Jackson Motorsports number 93, who has visited Victory Lane already in the 2023 season. But what we want to talk about, there's very few drivers who have pulled. Now, there are a lot of drivers who pull double duty. We're driving 2 different classes. But to be able to drive in the same day, pull double duty, and park it in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane. Now, you really got something figured out now with that 602 Sport Modified. That number 93 is you're sitting right beside here on a beautiful cool Carolina night on a Thursday in Eastern North Carolina and Fayetteville, you've got something, no doubt, figured out with that number 93. But let's talk about anytime you take, a checkered flag as you come off a turn 4, it's a feeling that if no one has ever felt that, you can't describe it for them. They have to feel it for themselves. But to do that twice in one day, kind of walk us through that, Donovan.
Man, I'm kind of happy that you weren't down there. So I was speechless after that race. I'm like, wow, I just won 2 races in a row on the same day. And I thought it was crazy at the beginning of this year that I swept the weekend speed weeks. And like, I just got 2 wins in 2 different days. And then I done back-to-back in one night. I thought that was amazing. The only person I've remembered, I think a couple of years ago, was Christian Thomas. He raced modified, his modified, and UMP won that night. He said, okay, I'll see y'all in a minute, guys. And he went and jumped in Cheryl Sewell's late model and then won that. And I was like, man, I seen him do that. I was like, I want to try that one day. If I ever get the opportunity to race the same, 2 different cars in one night, I want to be that guy. And then I did it. I was speechless. I couldn't believe it.
Well, when you talk about, it's really, kind of phenomenal for a guy like you or for anyone, not just kind of singling you out, but it's our show. We called you. We want to have you on. So we are going to single you out. So basically the way we look at it is like this. Not only did you win the 602 late models brought to you in part by Bilstein Shocks, not only did you win the feature for the Willys Carbon Dyno 602 Sport Modifieds, you win both races, but also so the fans know in both of those classes, you pulled off a win, but you're the current points leader in both of those classes. Man, what a sense of accomplishment. What a sense of momentum building. As I said, we're kicking off the part 2 of 2023 season. You guys have had, let's just not talk about what happened this Sunday, which is a phenomenal deal. I don't want to sell that short, none whatsoever. But combined, in conjunction with Ed Bellinger Motorsports and Jackson Motorsports, your 602 Bilstein Shock 6 late model, your Willys Carbon Dyno 602 Sport Modified, it has been an incredible 2023 for you on both sides of the fence here.
Absolutely. And I can't thank my family, my friends, my sponsors, and everyone enough that supports me all year long and racing each car and every car that I do drive. But if you were to say that I could have done this a year ago, there's no way. I mean, we have some confidence in our team. I'll give you that. But it's a dream, really. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it.
Well, it is incredible. We're super proud of you, man. It was a great thing to see. Me as being a race announcer, being inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, the Wayne Gray Stadium, the Carolina Bull Ring, in the tower, to see what you have done this week, because all of the top 5s, all of the top 10s, all of those wins that, just kind of run away with it in the 602 Sport Modifieds, and to see you capture a dream come true deal for you, not only to finally get your late model win, to drive 2 cars in one day and park it for, right there in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane. It's kind of like an honor to me because we're friends. We've known each other for a long time. I was honored and excited, man, to call those races and be a part of that special day for you, man.
I appreciate it a lot. I mean, like I said, it is a dream, and I've worked so hard for so many years to get where I am and race against caliber drivers that I do race against, and I'm knocking off my goals as best way I can, and I'm going to continue to build more goals and try and achieve them.
Well, on behalf of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast, our whole entire crew, we wish you the best of luck through the remaining part of 2023. As we have stated a couple of times, we just kicked off part 2 of 2023 inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Other than the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, are there other plans for either Ed Bellinger Motorsports in the 602 late model or the Jackson Motorsports number 93 Sport Modified? Are there other things on the schedule other than being at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway that your fans can catch you at another racetrack, or maybe some year-end goals for you guys? I know right now, obviously, you're in the points race. You're top of the leaderboard in both series, the Bilstein Shock 602 late models, Willys Carbon Dyno 602 Sport Modifieds. Is there other things that fans can look forward to seeing you in in the remaining part of 2023, whether it be a mod light over at Rockfish, or if it's maybe, hey, we're going to travel to Lakeview, we're going to go to the kids race at County Line. What's up for Donovan Jackson and your racing schedule for 23 remaining on the calendar?
As of right now, the late model will just strictly, stick in the Fayetteville to try and finish off the year strong. We are leading the points, but our goal is just to go to every race like we, with high expectations, and also, good head on our shoulders to just be successful. We want to get a win, but just we want to have fun at the same time. And with the modified, the same way, we go to each week by week is how we race. We want to try and get the championship as well in modified, but we just go each week and race as much as we can. And other than Fayetteville with those two cars, I don't know if I'll branch out with the modified the rest of the year. It's hard to say, but I will be at Rockfish when I'm not at Fayetteville. When there's a Rockfish race, that's where I'll be racing for Eco Advantage Motorsports and Mod Light.
All right. Well, let's back up just a hair. Okay. I know that Ed Bellinger and AJ Bellinger had to be, without a doubt, super excited to see you pull off your first late model win, as you were. But let's go in and talk about a guy that is part of your team, a guy that is there every time you unload the trailer. He's there every time you load it up and you get ready to go home. Talk about the special deal, the special feeling, because there's a relationship between you and your dad. Your dad is at the racetrack who suffered a heart attack, man, a year or so ago, and everyone had heartfelt condolences, prayers lifted up for him. And before we knew it, bam, just like that, he's back on his feet, back at the racetrack. Let's talk about, man, now there has to be something for the accomplishment of you as a driver, no doubt, to accomplish what you did on Sunday afternoon inside the Carolina Bull Ring, our hometown racetrack, the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, drive 2 cars, win both races, parking in Victory Lane twice. Talk about crawling out of that car, 2 races back to back, and celebrating that with someone that's as special to you as your dad is.
Oh man, I've always looked up to my dad growing up. He's always raced as long as I can remember, and just seeing his smile on after getting out of the race car, no matter how bad we do or how good we do, it's heartwarming, and he's my idol and my best friend, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I love being able to race as a family, and that's what Jack Built is his grandpa started Jack Built back in forever ago in racing, and then we kind of put it together, and we're starting something that we can grow from. And just, it's amazing to be able to race with my dad every single week when I can. And he's always there. He always has my back for sure.
Well, there's no doubt about that, because where you see Donovan, you see your dad. And, it's really cool, man, to sit there. And I really enjoyed, man, so the years that I've been the quote unquote voice of Victory Lane inside Race for Heroes Victory Lane. But it's a different aspect of when you know the drivers and you know them in the car, you know them out of the car like I do, to be able to bring to life, some of that heartfelt stuff of what you guys do. And man, to sit back and to call those races. And even though I'm no longer with you on that concrete pad when you park it in Victory Lane, I can see and I can feel the radiation of love and affection and the emotion of you and your dad. Because when your feet hit the ground, he's one of the first ones to get to you. And it's special, very, very special to watch. And it's really cool for me to be in a situation to be able, to have that position, to have that opportunity to call that action and to see that for you. So again, congratulations, man, on not only driving two cars, pulling double duty on Sunday afternoon inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway this past weekend, but parking it in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane, not once, but twice. So now I'm going to give you an opportunity, and you can separate them by car, 602 late model or 602 sport modified, or you can just do them all together. I want to give you an opportunity, man, to thank all of the sponsors that help you put yourself in contention to be in a position to win inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway or whatever racetrack you may go to.
With the late model, I got to give a huge shout out and thanks to Ed Ballinger and AJ Ballinger. Like I said, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't even be in the seat. When AJ called me back last year and said, "You want to drive for our team?" I said, "Absolutely. It's amazing." And I want to thank them, especially seeing these starters and alternators. Coy, he helps us out with the car. Just Ed Bellinger Motorsports. Their whole crew is amazing. The family, it's a good time. The Modify, I want to thank Eco Advantage Motorsports, Rockfish Speedway, All Star Home Improvements, CNT Equipment Transport, Certified Heating and Air, Minster Motorsports to help me with the shocks, Raging Rooster Catering, just everyone that puts in a helping hand towards both cars, all my friends. It just a little bit of like either just hands on the car or just a tip from here, trying to help me become a better driver or a setup or something. Everyone that's helped me through all these years, I cannot thank them enough. I wouldn't be here today without everyone that's put in the helping hand or support.
Okay, well, I got a real quick question for you because we're about to run out of time here. When the Fayetteville Motor Speedway was off during the month of August and part of September, Dustin Watkins, your childhood friend, who it doesn't really matter when the 93 and the 16 are lined up side by side. Fierce competitors, take out of the equation that we're buddies. You guys will spin your grandmama out to beat one another. Okay, I've seen it. I've called it. I've been there. I've done it. Been there. Got the T-shirt. I'm good. Is there anything that you might want to share with any of us, a laughing, funny memory? Because while we were off, you guys, from what I saw on Facebook and talking to you guys, I mean, you guys did a bachelor party. You guys did a wedding. You put a ring on it. Everything's done. Anything that you might want to call your little buddy out on. And I know, come on, and it's okay. You have the table. Call Ricky Chavis out on whatever, because I know he's a prankster, he's a jokester. So let's talk about being able to experience being on the racetrack, to see your buddy not only capture win inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. He took victory lane to another level in asking his bride to marry him. And you saw that. You've been at a bachelor party. You've been in a wedding. So anything you want to like spread out there and call your boys out real quick before we got just a few more minutes?
Oh man, there's so many memories we have together, and it's always laughs, and that's how I like it to be. Inside racing or outside racing, it's always a good time. Man, it's hard to say. Racing Dustin is like racing myself in another car. It's hard to predict what he's gonna do, because he's thinking, what am I gonna do? And then we're racing against each other at the same time. It's like I said, it's a mirror racing. And when I line up next to him, I know it's going to be a challenge on restarts, on picking the line where I need to run inside, outside. And it's a good time for sure.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, let's go back. Forget the 602 Sport Modifieds. Let's go back to the days of mod lights inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. How many times I stood in that concrete pad inside Racing for Heroes Victory Lane to see if it was going to be the 93 or the 16. 20 laps, 18 or 19 and a half, you guys side by side racing like it was like the world title at Eldora, the greatest show of the night. You two guys side by side. But at the end of the day, whoever won, they were greeted with a hug and love and friendship and brotherhood through each other. And man, I sat back and I watched that, and I really, 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 man, I know there's probably been some times where, hey man, he drove me whatever, but at the end of the day, you guys are there for each other. You guys are there for our brothers. But for one to finish first and the one to finish second, switch roles. You may win, he may win, or vice versa. I've witnessed that on that concrete pad. Both of you guys hug each other with congratulations. And I mean, the fans and the nights, man, that you guys drove those mod lights.
Yeah.
There is not a person that paid to get in that gate that could not say that they did not get what they paid for with you two guys racing like you did in those mod lights. And now we're starting to see that deal again in those 602 Sport Modifieds.
Oh yeah, that night in Mod Lights, I can't say it was planned, but it was something that we'd done for years on go-karts, bicycles, Matchbox cars on the ground. And that night I said, well, we're going to go out there and put a show on, aren't we? He said, absolutely. I said, all right, well, I'm starting at the top. Let's go from there. And we took the green, and he's on the bottom, and he got a run coming out of 2, and I go to the bottom, he go to the top. And it was almost like we rehearsed it, but we didn't. We just went out there and full sent it. And even though I got on the concrete pad and won that night, I didn't really consider that, me winning. It's just a good show. That's what we were all about that night. It was just a show. And I'm glad it was him to put that on the show with me, and, to show everyone and the fans that we're like brothers and we're racing. This is how racing should be.
Well, both of you guys, without a doubt, are fierce competitors, but you race each other clean. You race each other with respect, and it's always a joy to watch you guys. When you guys can get side by side, because it's almost like deja vu all over again. Here we go, man, back from the Mod Light days. Oh my God, However, no one can complain because you guys put on a great show, side-by-side racing throughout the night. So listen, hey, we thank you, man, for taking time to be on a show here tonight on a Thursday as we're already gearing up. Other people, I guess, are racing elsewhere this weekend. We'll be back inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, October the 7th, the running of the I-95 Late Model Challenge. Along with that will be the Bilstein Shock 602 Late Models, the Willys Carbon Dyno 602 Sport Modifieds, Team Triple X Race Services, Street Stocks, and our Amstel Trucking Legends, October 7th, Saturday night, inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, again featuring the I-95 late models. Tonight we've had on Donovan Jackson. He's the driver of the Ed Bellinger Motorsports number 1, 602 late model. He's also the driver of the number 93, Jackson Motorsports 602 Sport Modified. Drove both cars on Sunday this past weekend inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway and parked it 2 times in a row in prestigious Racing for Heroes Victory Lane. Donovan, again, congratulations, and thank you, man, for taking time to be on our show tonight, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the remaining part of 2023.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it a lot.
All right, folks, that's Donovan Jackson for Ed Bellinger Motorsports and Jackson Motorsports. I'm Kip Thompson, host of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast, and tonight, as we close out our show, we're going to hear from Atwell Exterior Services out of Greenville, North Carolina, Trevor Atwell and Team Atwell Racing. We're going to hear from them with their spot as we leave. And we're going to close tonight as we close every one of our shows. Be on the lookout. We could be coming to a racetrack near you, and you could be who we're talking about next, right here on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Good night, everybody. We hope to see you soon. Get out somewhere this weekend. Support a local racetrack, but especially plan right now. Go ahead and mark your calendars to be back at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway on October the 7th on Saturday night for the I-95 Late Model Challenge and our staple classes. Thanks so much for watching, and good night, everybody.
Atwell Exterior Services and Team Atwell ride with a winner. Congratulations to Trevor Atwell and the team at Atwell Exterior Services in Greenville, North Carolina. Atwell is the top-rated roofing and exterior renovations company in racing country, and Team Atwell has sponsored so many great racing teams for years. Ride with a winner on your roof or on the track. Atwell Exterior Services. Atwell Exterior Services and Team Atwell Racing. Ride with a winner.